Hello guys, welcome to the channel. This is Roll. In today's video I want to make my own review about Janthir Wild, talking about my own opinion and experience with this expansion from the point of view of mostly a world versus world player, not the general opinion of the expansion or put it in a full perspective. It's just the personal experience, especially that this expansion is over and we will be heading to the next one in October, and it have already been releasing teasers and stuff. We will get to it when we reach this point. But first, let's talk about Janthir. So Janthir Wild in general was a decent expansion. I liked the start of it. I liked the first two maps, especially the first one. It felt really refreshing. My first experience with it was playing with many people. There was always groups, too many tags doing the achievements themselves, not just meta or events or anything. No, it was just the achievement and moving from place to place to gather stuff, races, stuff like that. It felt really, really alive and fresh at the start. It's still, you always have people playing around everywhere, but obviously not like the start of the expansion release, not as heavy at all. Especially there is not much to do here if you don't want to finish collections or achievement or basically doing hearts or gathering materials. So it's not like a meta map when you find insane hordes of players coming to do specific thing. No, this map is pretty on the low level of playing. However, as someone who always solo play and I don't really care for PvE like metas this much, just rarely I ever play this much in PvE. I want to do something simply because I find it fun. Like I want to play a little in this place so I can gather some material or stuff like that. The thing I did the most was actually opening chests. When you ride the Warclaw, you get this skill that will scan the map around you, and if there is a chest, buried chest near you, you will actually open it. I used to do that a lot. I found it very, very enjoying to do, like running all the map like every day or something. I did just for the fun, honestly, because it's not really that profitable. Maybe it was at the start, but it became like significantly less. But I kept doing it until it became like really not really that valuable. However, I still think this map is one of the best maps I've played in the game. It's very fun, very enjoyable, just feel fresh to move around. Even the scenery feel good, stuff like that. The second map was the same and introduced some of the new thing, like if you go to the beaches of it, you see this new type of water and stuff, so it was really great. Something also I want to talk about is, before we even get to Janthir, one of my most concerning as a World vs. World player who a little bit interested in the lore, how are they going to fix the problem of Warclaw? Basically being in the lore a creature from the mist, and then now it's Journeykin because they adjusted it for this expansion, and they did. They made it like it's a new discovery. We were wrong. It didn't originate in the mist. They're actual creatures, and they are the Journeykin. And this guy, when you get here, speak with his friend and talking about them having magic, and he was able to detect it, and it's similar to the Warclaw, and that they will be wrong. It explained it immediately. So I appreciated the attention to details that Ryan put into this. I really had this question in my mind before the release of the expansion until it actually came to pass. Now, this is the start of the expansion in general. It also came with the new weapons, which is the spear. However, as someone who haven't been interested in the spear in general, I only play Ranger, and I mostly like condition. I barely dabble in the bar like in open world or something like that, and yet it's not about the weapon was just power and doesn't work for condition. I did not like the spear. Look at it from this perspective. For Rangers, we got power weapons back to back. Basically, we got the hammer for End of Dragon. After Bass of Fire, we get in the dagger, which basically a hybrid weapon. It can work for both. Even so, it's the main condition weapon if you want to have a melee style. We got the hammer, and then we got the mace for Secrets to Obscure, and then we got the spear for Janthir Wild. All of them are power weapons. This one can be used a little bit for support or whatever, it doesn't matter. They do damage through power. So you can run them for a DPS build, you can run them for a support build, or whatever you do. If it's an assassin build or a multi-hit thing, if it's a boon build, still you can play it with power. You cannot play the weapon with condition. And that was a bit problematic, especially that we have very few choices as a ranger to what we can play in condition. And even most of the weapons that have condition on them can be used with power builds. The only like really condition weapons we have is a short bow, and probably that's it. Even the axe is a hybrid weapon. Even the dagger can work as a hybrid weapon. So your choices is very limited. If you want to see every weapon that work with a condition, then probably the double daggers, the main hand axe. The sword doesn't really work. It have like a poison here, but it's worthless. The short bow, and that's it. Nothing else work except like the torch for offhand, but that's it. There's nothing else you can do, while all the other weapons are practically power. So the competition was too much for the spear. But even if the spear is better, I did not like, to this day, I do not like how it feels, how you have to switch between skills and you stealth, and it feel annoying, especially the constant stealth when your class like stops after you. You have to really keep timing, you pressing the skill again and again, and that it hits in a cone like right in front of you. It doesn't feel right to me as a main ranger. I know many rangers feel very good and love the spear, some PvP players, and many people have made videos with it, roaming and stuff. I did not enjoy it. So that left me with a problem with the Janthir Wild expansion. There's no specialization, there's no weapon, there's nothing. Because even if the spear worked, it is just another power weapon that have to compete with other. It work in competitive maybe because of the stealth, but in PvE, it's just a point of number at this point. And even if it had a little bit higher number, someone who plays in the open world, you would rather have the boons from the mace, the better control even from the hammer or damage. You would not run spear. It's not the best choice. People would run it because it's a new thing, but it's not that exciting. So what else this expansion give us as good? I like the concept of actually developing on what we already have, like making the Warclaw better, move faster, and it give you a better room of something that you can enjoy. It moves freely between different terrains. It can just jump in the air with this double jump or air jump stuff. So working on something you already have and make it better was great. Especially if you think about mounts, like there is not much room to do anything more. We have mounts for water, for fast speed, for moving upward or vertical, for moving across terrain, for moving fast, like we have everything for flying. So to keep just adding more, it becomes very niche kind of thing, and people want to use one thing. And not because it's a little bit faster, because it can fly like that, I will use it instead of the people will just use skyscale. Like for many people who's not using Griffin for either long distance or for the joy of it, everyone just use skyscale. And to just not keep switching between different mounts because, oh, now I have a wall I need to cross and I was on Jackal. Now I need to change to Springer, but I'm not walking fast. I need to go with Beetle. People just keep using Skyscale, and I am one of them a lot of the time. Unless you're moving on like a extremely linear ground, like for a long distance, you would always just go with Skyscale for the safest bit. Right now we have other options, like Warclaw will not fall from a cliff because now you have something you can't cross or be stopped by a small thing in your road. No, it will just go. And it already existed. It didn't give you another thing to solve this problem, so maybe you can use it instead of Skyscale or stuff like that. And again, it left a little bit of room for other mounts because of this mastery that when you dodge next to something, you will hit it. So if you want to avoid that completely, you can still go with the Jackal, would give you close enough speed, but it will not do such thing. So you will not reveal yourself if you are stealth, for example, or anything. So it was really, really a good design. Even the downside that was done by purpose, like this idea of damaging your surrounding, it will fill your endurance faster, but it will also give you a little bit of problem if you want to stay in the same place. Like if you're gonna go down from your mount to gather something on the ground. Now you're in combat, and you can do that multiple times, so now you're stuck in combat and you cannot ride Warclaw. Because if you ride it in combat, you will get this debuff that will stop you from riding it, that thing, to a specific cooldown. So you can simply go with another mount that you can always ride, like the Jackal. I made already a video talking about the Warclaw, explain how it works, and another video comparing it for the speed and movement and everything with other mount. I'll probably put them for you in the description if you're interested. Now with that out of the way, When with the other batches landing, we got the raid, we got the conversions and stuff like that. And I play conversions some from time to time. I do not play raid, not interested at all. And I'm generally only like play world versus world. I rarely dabble with anything else, except like with open world probably for PvE. So that left most of the content landing for, especially for the first batch, for example, almost meaningless to me. I already have legendaries and I don't want to waste like my time and gold and everything to keep doing other legendaries just for skins, which I didn't really like. Like I don't like spear. I'm not gonna use it, so why do I make another spear? Even so, I don't have the first spear, but why do I make the spear to begin with? Second thing is the back. I didn't really like the back. I think it's really good on char, but it doesn't really work on anything else. So I'm not gonna do a legendary simply to play the game while I'm not even interested in using it. And all that's fair. You might like to do something, you might not like to, but until we get to the last map, the batches that gave us first Mistburn Barrens and Bavanesos. So this map, a lot of people loved it and some people hated it. The concept of it that there is always something happening. You keep move into a specific line and doing events one after another, and then it's just kind of reset, always happening. You don't have to wait for a meta, like there's always something's going on. Or that's how I understand it at least. So it was decent, I enjoyed it, it was fine, until we got to Bavanesos. And I can tell you that this is probably one of the maps I hate the most in the game. I really hated the last patch. And I've never actually made a video talking bad about Guild War or even said anything that I didn't like that or whatever, because I always found something kinda to like, so it's not that I just avoided it. I always loved everything, like the good and the bad. I didn't hate the end of Icebrute Saga, even so I obviously admit that it was a bit bad and cut short from a story arc that should have been huge. Like it was supposed to be another complete saga for Brymodus, like the Fire Saga, not the Icebrood, and all that was cut just to get rid of the dragons. But I still said maybe it made sense. You kill dragons too easy, but it's dragon kill dragon, so they are powerful enough. It makes sense with Oreen involved, and so even the core story of the game, when we killed Zaitan just by using cannons and hitting a single button, I was like, yeah, it's a dragon. You can't really expect to hold your sword and fight it and somehow give me a story like that. It has to be something big. So maybe you count on technology, whatever. Should have been more interesting. Yeah, but I was interested in the story and I loved the core story, how everything just moved one thing after another. So I see the downside, but I didn't hate it. Honestly, even one of the worst thing maybe is a tunnel of Galadelph. I was like, yeah, they just split something into two, so it became meaningless. It should have been one story, but I still found it nice. I loved Galadelph at first. It was one of the most insane amount of mobs, of monsters everywhere, and you keep killing them. The system of the new keys and chests, I found it fun. I hated this thing. This map, I hate it. It's locked all the time. You have to be open and then to move from an event to another. The first boss, like the legendary one, may be interesting and like the actual play is fine, but I do not like the map. I don't want to play in it like at all. But let's ignore the map. As someone who play like solo, I always want the map open. I can move freely and do whatever, complete it, find random events, and even so, there are some champions I can find and solo sometime. It have to be open. Now it's not. I didn't even bother to understand how this map worked. I just played a little bit, finished it, and just ran away, practically. What I hated even more was how this story ended. And let's look into Secret of the Epicure comparing to this one. Secret of the Epicure was one of the most intriguing, interesting. The start of the story, everyone loved. This like horror stuff when you're running from, I don't know what's his name, Cerberus or no, I can't remember it, but that demon at the start. It's just amazing. And I've seen other content creators even just so intrigued while it's happening. I loved it. And it kept progressing in a really interesting way. It built up on one of the greatest secrets the game have, which is the Wizard Tower. And it did it justice. The end, however, with Inarneos, like the map, it was a bit bad. Like we were going to war between like two planets, technically. And just an empty map. When you kill a general, you find the next, you make him join you, and then you kill other general and you kill a boss. It's over. It's like, here's evil guy, you kill him and you move on. It didn't feel this significant. It didn't feel like there is a build up. One of the best war things Arena did was in season 4 and in Battlefield, when you tricked the generals to use the army of Balawajoku to do your bidding against the army of the god of war, Balthazar. It was crazy. You see a battle with many NPCs fighting each other and stuff. You move inside the castle like with the siege for the Balawajoku's castle in season 4 too. It's just great. You feel the weight of it. In one of the best ways I've felt in a game. I didn't play so many games, but it was done greatly, in my opinion. LNAS was just like, there was nothing. Like, if you believe the story, like, yes, this guy's evil and now we won a war and stuff, fine. But there's no gameplay or even something you see with your eyes to make it make sense. So it was a bit annoying, but I still kinda accepted the story. And unlike many people, I loved Inner as a map. Like, I don't enjoy how it looks, for example. However, it felt really alien. I felt like in another planet, and I think it was done greatly. The way even the sand look, the color, the plants, how they wrap around, it felt like a living world or barely living world, but it felt alien. And I think they did it well. In this expansion, however, I think it's the complete opposite. I think it's, for me, it was one of the worst stories ever, how it ended. Like I said, this is just my opinion. You can disagree or whatever. I'm just sharing how I felt about it. And I know for a fact so many people hated how it ended. Which maybe that's a spoiler, obviously. If you didn't notice, I've been spoiling and talking freely about everything. Like, basically, you introduced insanely huge 2 characters. Starting with Sextus Obscure, you introduced Mabon and the Seer, Isgaran. Those 2 can answer questions about millennials. So many secrets about the entire span of life for Tyria, like for 10,000 years. And you didn't ask them anything, you don't know anything from them, and Arena just ignores this fact. Asgard doesn't share anything, they kill Mabon, and many people say, maybe it's better this way. Even Odin Potato probably said that, like, it's a way to avoid this, that he could tell us anything. We just get rid of him so fast, and he's moved. Then he appear here, but it's like a memory, he doesn't respond to you. And then fine, why did you bring him back? And then he respond to you, and when you try to ask him anything, he does like this meme. It's like, get in, there is no time to talk. And you just move on for the next thing. And you introduce 2 big things, like the Scepter of Ore, with politics about it. We should use it, we shouldn't use it, this is insane, this is too risky, we don't have to yet, we need to gather information. Like, it started to make you feel like an insane threat. The Titans were insane. There was even talks about, in this expansion, when we talked to Ghosts, one of them, like for Char, like they were going to destroy this world and take the Char to another one. So it feel huge, like something dragon level huge. And then you fight them, and it feel like those are like the small parties that got out and doing mission until like an army will come. And that's why you talk about using the Spear of Ore or the Scepter of Ore. But you get to the city and you're supposed to be shocked that the city is another Titan or whatever, and it didn't leave anything. Like, it's nothing. So let's kill his organs instead of fighting him directly. It was messy, and I didn't feel it hold any meaning or would portray it even good. And the Scepter of Ore was useless. It didn't do anything. And it just, it was 3 of white mantles. Somehow they got a little bit ugly and turned Titans, and there was no threat. It's 3 thugs, practically, that we had to defeat. All this felt extremely overwhelming, with no point to it. And even you introduced us to the Foundry for creation, just to, here, kill those, now leave, and it's over. The Foundry itself introduced just so we can take a look at it. It's like Arena is looking to every asset. Let's make this appear and this appear and this appear and play on the nostalgia for no meaning whatsoever. The Scepter of Ore, who had no value to be there, and now it didn't work, and no one really paid attention, and now it worked. Like, introducing big things, big names, like the Scepter and the Foundry, and it had no meaning, no reason to even exist in a story. Everything just got cancelled. He kills us 3 thugs, basically, that were threatening the world, which actually they are completely powerless to do anything of an actual meaning, because they are not an army or more titans or anything. No, it's very small. And even the city is a titan. That didn't feel much like of anything. Let's kill its organs instead of killing the whole thing at once. And then we go out and Mabon closes the gate and it's over. And even this lovey-dovey part at the end of the story, which a lot of people didn't like and felt so out of Guild Wars 2 style, with everyone in this like party thing, it didn't feel impression. I felt so annoying, and it's probably the first time I really hate a story chapter this much. I will also leave Reddit post in the description that actually summarized this better probably than I can say on how much the story or the absolution chapter was not good. It's a Reddit post. I will leave the link in the description if you're really interested in the summary on why it's not good. I would give Janthir as actually my least favorite expansion that, for me personally, I didn't get this much from. Like maybe the Warclaw is enjoyable, but we could have lived without because we already have the Jackal, and I didn't even like the weapon as a ranger. So, it's me, practically. I love the first maps, I still love it existing in the game, but I didn't find it this meaningful to me. However, this is not a doom gloom. I don't like how Guild Wars 2 doing, absolutely. In fact, I'm more excited about the future and how they're going about it. So they already made us a post going from the Wilds to what's next and talking about their plan for the next expansion. And a lot of it is actually great. For a start, we are getting elite specialization again. This time with no weapons, just elite specialization. The concept is you would get the elite and the weapon that go with it. It was a lot of balancing, a lot of development, skills, animation, everything. So the new model of yearly expansion, they refrained away or they stayed away from this. So now they gave us more weapons, like a new weapon that didn't exist, and let's give them that, which is a spear, worked the new animation and stuff, so a new weapon totally. And in the best expansion, Secret of Obscure, they unlocked weapons to be used completely and was given us relics separated from the runes. You can build a lot of things to your specific content. You can really work creatively on what you want to play. So there's no reason to introduce more weapons with more elite specialization, especially now since you can use any weapon with any elite specialization, like as long as it's yours. Like a dagger for a ranger will work for any ranger, soul beast, untamed, or whatever. So if you give you a new weapon, it will work with all the best one too, and that need to be kept in mind for also balance, which is crazy. So they were giving us this time elite specialization without the weapons. And I think it's really great, and it will offer a huge point or opportunity of actually building and creatively about it. It's better than a specific weapon that compete with other weapons and offer a specific role because it's just about damage and barely have a different spirit. I think elite specialization is much, much better, and I'm really excited about it this time. I only hope that it satisfies different people needs. Like, I'm not just talking about me because I love condition or hit power or whatever. No, other people like power. So don't make something that can only be played as condition. Stuff like that, like give us different option, different style, some defensive trait, some offensive trait, like make it flow around. And I think Untamed is a really good example of this. It worked really good for PvE, at least for condition play. And honestly, even if you want to play it for combative style, it can be played hybrid or whatever. A droid is more on the condition side, but still can be played with power, especially competitively. Probably, especially in PvE, PvP can be even better with power. So we want this same concept that they started, especially focusing on from End of Dragon, like to make whatever comes from Elite actually work with many builds, not really locked into one thing. And if they make that successfully in the Elite specialization, I will be content and I will love it. And I'll probably play it in both power and condition, multiple different builds if possible. Because at least in PvE, I get to enjoy many things, even if I have different taste for different things, like different forward versus forward or for PvP. So that's the first thing. And they talk a lot on what they learned, let's say from Janthir Wild mistakes and stuff, because everyone thought that the story, for example, was short, very like cut fast, wasn't really satisfying at all. everything felt like it just running away. So because of that, in the next expansion, they will give us expansion. In the first quarterly, they will be working on things in the game. And they talked about this to streamline things and fix older systems and stuff, so there will not be story or map or anything, which means the first true content of the expansion will be after 6 months. So first of all, this idea of working on older system, I like the concept in general. There's too many systems, they spread around. Arenit used to give us something, didn't work, let's try something new. Like, let's do raids, no one played, let's stop it, let's make strikes, let's ignore it now. We have dungeon, let's make fractal. Now dragon response mission, no one like it, let's ignore it. So a system after another, after another, after another. So you can streamline a lot of things. For example, think of it like the Urine battle, like with Primodus and Jormag, let's make it convergent. Let's make all the currencies are one and all the conversions exist like in a similar form. And now if you have this expansion, you can play this, but you get to buy the specific things or whatever, like it's one system. So there's a lot of work can be done in this to make the game better and easier, especially for new players. You don't find insane amount of system, you keep going from one to another. And it also dilute the player base in a way. Some people want to do that, some people want to do that. And even in specific system, it also become many things, like even the currencies for different strike mission can be different. I didn't really look into it for a very long time, but I think it works this way. The Dragon Response mission, who no one technically play, like there's so many things you can do. They didn't obviously explain what's in their mind, and they also said that it will take years. It's not gonna be like all the games fixed and everything is perfect in like in one expansion like the next one. Obviously not. So they've been already working this, like when they turned the currencies for all the dungeon into one currency, but they will be continue and want to focus on it more, and I actually think this is a good idea. And because of that, the next or the second quarterly update will introduce maps and story, and actually they say it's going to be a large map, and it will make all the content come with expansion actually more significant and bigger than the previous one, which is something we will wait until we see. So basically, I'm not sure how many maps will be released at the start of the expansion. Maybe 2, maybe more, but we will have a map with each quarter, which means not the first one, but the second and the third. So maybe like 2 other maps or 3, I'm not sure. Like all that we will know actually when they speak about the expansion, the announcement, and that's gonna be the next Tuesday, I think. So it's just a few days from now. And lastly, they give us some teasers about the new elite specialization again, and now we know 2 of those who will come, which is, everyone say it's Paragon, and obviously the colors, that is a warrior, and the ritualist, and obviously that is a necromancer. But also there is another teaser in it. He is holding a Sunspear weapon, and he wearing the Sunspear outfit, which mean, like many people expect, we will be going to Zelana, which is part of the Bath of Fire region. We'll be going to the desert, and also in the last story, I think someone was talking about it in the NPCs, there was people went there. I don't remember what they say, but it was already mentioned in it, which what they did, even the previous expansion, so on as Janthir, the I've Janthir. So I think it pretty settled. We will go to this region, like the desert again. And also they give us those images and as teasers for the elite specialization. I will talk about the one who have been released already and what I think of them. So since we know that Necromancer is a ritualist, and I didn't play Guild Wars 1, but I heard people say that ritualist used to use dagger, so I think this dagger will be for the ritualist, which mean this is a Necromancer symbol. That is the most likely one in my opinion. And I think that we have to give this dagger icon to a class that already uses dagger. And most likely the core ones, because it cannot be simply given to like a spellbreaker, and the spellbreaker already is the one had dagger. So and now you're talking about warrior, because another each specialization started using it. People, if the people don't have like if someone have Secrets of Obscure but doesn't have Bath of Fire, for example, what he have a theme about the dagger or anything that's in the elite specialization shelf, while he can't use dagger, actually this is really messy. So I think it has to be a core weapon, even so if it's not about the weapon itself. But I think to choose a dagger as a symbol, it has to be that. And for the best like year or two, I can't really remember the balance patches, but dagger for necromancer have been adjusted and it had few reworks. So maybe they reworked it like skill 2 for the healing and stuff. Now it's a single hit and stuff like that. This was done actually to prepare it for the ritualist. So I think this is probably the ritualist. Is this where I put my bet in? And I hope I'm correct. Or maybe I'm not correct. It doesn't matter. But this is what I think it actually is. Now this one, I think it's 100%. Like we are all correct about it. It can't be anything else. It is the Mesmer Bard or Minstrel. Reddit have already made like a joke, I think it was in April or something, many years ago, introducing the Minstrel, and it's a Mesmer actually with a lute. And it exists in the game. It's already like in the carnivals or whatever, like in Divinity's Reach. They are entwined or connected with this idea of music and whatever. Besides, it has the animation in the game. Like you already have different music instrument. You already have these animations of playing the lute and even singing. You can add even more like music voices or whatever. And the Mesmer can be summoned phantasmals through the skills that will actually make copies or clones or whatever that use those musical instrument. However, you can't do this with any other class because you will not, as a skill, leave your weapon and somehow pull a lute out of nowhere and start playing on it. So it has to be Mesmer for many reasons. Also, we are getting traits, we are getting a specific mechanic, like it will be so fresh for the elite specializations that it will have to give us a new mechanical style of playing. They already told us that. And we also get the skills like healing, utility, and elite. It's just completely normal. The only thing is missing is weapon, by the way. So that thing is my bet on Mesmer. Now this one, I think it's already revealed practically. I was torn between like Guardian and Warrior because it's simply like the original Warrior helmet, but it's a bit different. It's closed, it has the wings, but after they give us a picture of the Paragon Warrior, like with the color of the Warrior with wings, so this is obviously Warrior. I think it's already solved at this point. This is Warrior. Now this one doesn't give any tell about it. The way it's twisty like that, I have a feeling that it's elementalist, but it could be anything honestly. Like I don't know. It could, but I would choose between elementalist, engineer, or revenant. Those are probably the three I think the most would fit with this. I'm not sure about it. This looked to me like a blade, like you know, like a great sword with an X-like shape from here, and this is the middle line is actually the curvature of a double-edged sword. This is how I see it. Obviously, I could be wrong, but this is how I see it. So I don't really know which one is this. Now this one, most people say thief, but I'm willing or going to disagree. I would say this is guardian. I know this sounds weird, but you need to remember something. That we have been tricked before when they showed us this for the first time and everyone said it's thief because those are the initiatives, and boom, it's Wellbender, it's Guardian, and they actually symbolize the virtues. So since they don't make a character that takes something like a basic mechanic until for the elite specialization, yeah, put it there, they already done it before, I don't think this time they will make it for the thief. Besides, if you give them to Wellbender here, like they already existed with Guardian, you don't make another icon for another class with the same symbol and now you say, no, that's thief. I don't think this is sound, I don't think this makes sense. However, they are a card design, so anything could have been here instead of diamond, but the three cards having the same symbol, not even different one, tell me more it might be actually Guardian. And again, it's three virtues or whatever. I could be totally wrong, and me sounding smart right now gonna be really funny if I'm wrong, but this is what I guess the most logical choice. I think this is Ranger. I think this is a flower looking, like a blade-like flower, which this is the crown. I don't know what they call it in English, but I think this is a flower thing, which obviously fitting with the nature type of Ranger. People say it's like a demon face, like a shield or whatever. I see what they're talking about, but I'm not convinced. I think this is more of a flower. I'm trying to pick and choose what I think the most and not give all the options or all the possibilities. No, I only want to talk about what makes more sense to me. So I think this is range. Those were every teaser we got on the elite specializations. We will get every class will get its own elite specialization, will get the traits. It will have specific mechanical type. So like let's say Shroud for Thief for Spectre. This is a new mechanic. It's not just few skills. So everyone will have this to make it feel very worthy. Like it's big thing to change how you play it. You'll also get the healing, utility, and elite skills like every time we had with the other expansions. However, you will only not get the weapon. So that's it for the video. Tell me what do you think, and don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. Like, share, ask me anything in the comments, and I want to hear what you think about Janthir, Secret of the Cure, or whatever. I will be reading your comments. Like I said, this was my personal take on it and how I felt playing it. It's not a judgment of the expansion in general. I merely wanted to share my own experience and why I am hopeful for the future and think the next one will be much, much better, hopefully. So that's it for the video, and I'll be seeing you next time.